So there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out pretty soon, actually, a little over a week from the time that I'm uploading this review. And I thought it might be fun, seeing as how there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out, and I'm going to make a review video about that as soon as I see it. If I went back, and since I never had a chance to review the original Sam Raimi trilogy on video, that I would do that. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie starring Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and Willem Dafoe. And then in two subsequent videos I'll also be reviewing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, which will bring us all up to date. So let's go back 10 years or so. It's hard to believe it's been that long since the original Spider-Man opened. But it was a project very, very long in development. A lot like Superman Returns, in that it had been talked about since the early 90s. The attempt to make a big budget Spider-Man movie. And for a long time, James Cameron was supposed to do it. Eventually, it landed in Sam Raimi's lap, and it was under his directorship that it eventually finally got made after being in development all those years. And I remember going to see it in the theater for the first time, and I did not expect a good movie at all. Part of it was that I knew how long in development the project was, and part of it also was that you must remember, other than Bryan Singer's X-Men film, which had come out in 1999, I think, or 2000, the superhero movie genre was not anywhere near the level of quality that it is today. There was really no reason to expect that it was going to be a great movie. I still had sort of a bad taste in my mouth from the Batman films from the 90s, particularly the ones directed by Joel Schumacher. And so there was just, and I actually, and honestly, I really didn't even think that Bryan Singer's X-Men was that great, aside from Hugh Jackman and Ian McKellen and their performances. I thought that the movie itself was really overrated by its fans. Not that it was a bad movie, but just overrated by its fans. So I saw Spider-Man, and I was really, really impressed. I was really, really surprised by how good that it was. It was the first superhero film I had seen in a very, very long time that actually impressed me, that really felt like it was a good movie, made me excited to see it. And I left the theater with this elated feeling. And what is it that makes Spider-Man such a good movie? Well, for one thing, they cast Peter Parker very well. Tobey Maguire is a very particular kind of actor, and the kind of actor that he is suits the role of Peter Parker very well. And it seems like he and Raimi both understand that Peter has to be sort of, he has to be likable, he has to be someone we can root for, but he also has to be a bit of a sad sack kind of character. You know, that was part of the innovation of Spider-Man in the comics, was that he was the superhero who did not have the glamorous life, who did not have the sexy job or a vast fortune, or you know, he was not sought after for his looks and his civilian life, etc. And even as a hero, he was treated somewhat ambivalently. You know, he had a major newspaper in New York City that wanted to see him brought down or exposed as a fraud or a villain, and so. And those elements are there in Raimi's film, and also in Tobey Maguire's performance as Peter and as Spidey. The other standout performance in the film is Willem Dafoe, and Willem Dafoe is one of those actors who just automatically makes anything he's in better just by the mere virtue of his presence. He's one of those actors where if I see that he's in something, I automatically am interested. I think, ooh, okay, I at least want to see what this is. And Dafoe is just incredible as Norman Osborn / the Green Goblin. A lot of people bitched at the time about the Goblin costume. They said he looked like a Power Ranger because the mask wasn't articulated. You couldn't see his eyes most of the time, and you couldn't see his mouth. It was just like a full helmet piece that went over his head. But think about how the Green Goblin looks in the comic books. I mean, there's really kind of a no-win situation, really. How do you adapt that for a film without having it look absurd. It was either the helmet thing that Raimi ended up going with that actually did have some semblance of practicality to it. You could say that it was a helmet when he's flying on that glider to sort of protect him and allow him to breathe and things like that. That's some justification for it. And if you didn't do that, you would have Willem Dafoe in green goblin makeup, or some kind of a prosthetic. It just doesn't, that I don't think that would have been very good either. So the way they did it, the compromise they reached was very good. And Dafoe just really throws himself into it. It's great to see a very talented, charismatic actor just fucking going for it. And he really does as Goblin and as Norman. But he also finds these little moments in his performance, these little bits of humor. Like I adore the bit where he's about to go through the metamorphosis. He's about to inhale the green gas, and he's being strapped to the table in his lab by the professor, the doctor. I think Dr. Strom is his name, who assists him. And he has these metal braces put across his chest to hold him in place. And as the metal touches his shirtless chest, he kind of jumps and goes, "Ooh, that's cold." It's just a nice, natural human moment. It sounds really good. I don't know if that was Dafoe ad-libbing or if that was in the script or that was Raimi's idea, but whoever gets credit for that deserves credit for that, because that was a really nice moment. And that reminds me of other human moments in the film. There's when Peter comes back home late, and he was supposed to help his Uncle Ben paint the kitchen, and he ends up no-showing, and Uncle Ben presumably paints the kitchen all by himself. And there's a note on the table or the oven or something saying, from Uncle Ben, saying, "Michelangelo," referring to Peter. Where were you? And veggies in oven. I mean, just a very intimate sounding note. It sounds like the note was written by someone who loved him and cared about him. And that stuck with me. And there's little personal details that it shows that the filmmakers, that Raimi and his screenwriters and his cast understand the tone and the personality of Spider-Man, and what makes Spider-Man unique and what makes Spider-Man special is the intimacy, is the humanity, and the sort of the groundedness of it in interpersonal relationships. It's something that other comics since then have borrowed from, but that Spider-Man really established as a mainstream superhero comic, as being based on these. It was about regular people who just happened to have these extraordinary things happen to them. Very, very influential comic book in that way. So as you can tell, I really liked the Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. I thought it was a terrific movie. It was the first, probably since Superman 2, I would say, it was the first superhero film made where, when I saw it as an adult, where I thought, wow, this is really good. This is really something worth watching, and something, that gives you bang for your buck. And it's not just a spectacle, and it's not just trying to be garish and exciting and distracting, but it actually has a story to tell, and it actually understands its characters, and it's made by a filmmaker who is interested in the characters and not just in the costumes and the action set pieces. This was a good movie, and it was a huge movie. It was a massive hit. It made something like $500 million domestic box office, which had not happened for quite a while, and was one of the biggest domestic opening weekend for a few years after that. People tend to forget because, Avatar, since then Avatar has been such a massive hit. Dark Knight was huge. There have been other films that have surpassed Spider-Man as far as recent box office hits since then, but at the time it was just huge. It was a huge hit. Really, really good superhero movie. I watched it again just recently, and it still holds up 10 years later. And the comic nerds who still to this day bitch about this, the organic web shooters. I never understood that. Who gives a shit? That's like bitching about Batman having a black costume when he doesn't have a black costume in the comics. Who cares if it's a good movie? And Spider-Man is a good movie. It's a really good movie. It still stands up as one of the best superhero films made.